What's going on, guys? Welcome to Sports Reel. Today we're looking at 8 NBA players who were forced to change positions. Coming in at number 8, we've got Paul George.
Oh, got that steal too.
And here he goes.
Here we go.
PG
What you got?
puts
yeah!
Paul George has a lot of similarities with LeBron James, and one of them is the fact that he was also listed as a shooting guard early on rather than a small forward, mostly because he had to share touches with Danny Granger, who was a top-notch 3 at the time. So, he spent over 88% of his minutes at the 2 spot until Granger eventually got hurt, and he was forced to shift all his way to the wings. But he's now become one of the league's best players at that spot. At number 7, we've got Kevin Durant.
And it comes to Durant. He's going to try to win it. Good at the buzzer!
Kevin Durant entered the league as a very skinny player for his height, so he was nowhere near ready to play against well-built-up forwards, and with that smooth shooting stroke he always had, he spent 93% of his minutes at the shooting guard spot. After his rookie campaign was over and he built some muscle, he spent about 80% of the time playing at the small forward spot. When he got to the Warriors, he spent 55% of the minutes at the 4 and 45% of the minutes at the 3, and his defense has improved a lot up to the point where he can even play the center. At number 6, we've got Allen Iverson.
11 rebounds, a block, 3 points. Iverson, wow, what a fake on Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Just like Jordan, Allen Iverson is mostly remembered for being one of the craftiest and most talented shooting guards ever, but he actually spent 100% of his minutes at the point guard spot during the 2004 to 2005 campaign. What makes this most impressive is the fact that he had spent 70% of his minutes at the 2 spot prior to the campaign, proving that he was a very willing passer and underrated playmaker, as well as a deadly scorer. Coming in at number 5, we've got Dwayne Wade.
Wade on the drive, inside, backs it in. 3-point game.
Dwayne Wade is considered to be one of the greatest shooting guards in the history of the sport, but before becoming a top-tier baller at the 2 spot, he was actually running the point guard for the Miami Heat. Wade spent 55% of his minutes running the point for the Heat during his rookie season, but he would eventually shift to the shooting guard spot and play over 90% of his minutes there since his sophomore campaign. Coming in at number 4, we've got Tim Duncan.
He has 6 assists. Here's Duncan inside. Gets it back. Puts it in and gets fouled.
There's always been a debate regarding if Tim Duncan was a power forward or a center, and the answer is pretty simple. He excelled at both. Of course, he spent most of the time at the forward during the earlier stages of his career, logging over 70% of his minutes at the power forward spot during the 2007 campaign. Nonetheless, between 2008 and 2018, he shifted to the 5 spot and spent over 60% of his time playing there at center, while he eventually retired playing 99% of the minutes below the rim during the 2016 campaign. At number 3, we've got LeBron James.
Had it rejected by Harris. Look at the pick, LeBron James. James with speed. And hammer, throw down.
Even though most people think of LeBron as a combo forward, and with great reason, he actually entered the league as a shooting guard and spent 66% of his minutes playing at the 2 spot throughout his rookie career. Obviously, he would later switch to the small forward position where he'd play 95% of his minutes at the wing, and wouldn't be until his 3rd season as a member of the Miami Heat where he would go on and play a lot of time at the 4. Coming in at number 2, we've got Magic Johnson.
Caldwell Jones with him, and so Magic puts it up at the perimeter.
Magic Johnson ran the point guard through most of his career, although his height allowed him to play all the way up to the center spot, even replacing an injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar during the NBA Finals amid his rookie campaign. Also, when Magic decided to unretire and come back to the Los Angeles Lakers, he spent most of his minutes playing the power forward spot, proving to be perhaps the most versatile player the game has ever seen. And finally, at number 1, we've got Michael Jordan. Yeah, believe it or not, the greatest shooting guard in the history of the game wasn't always a shooting guard, as he shifted to the small forward position when he unretired and made a comeback with the Wizards. Jordan spent as much as 80% of his minutes at the 3. Also, he ran some point guard for the Chicago Bulls as well through 24 games back then in 1998, putting sick averages of over 30 points, 9 rebounds, and almost 11 assists per game. Simply the greatest of all time. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of NBA players forced to change positions. Make sure you guys subscribe to Sports Reel, hit that bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.